Hey everyone, we are back again, still in the midst of the COVID-19 situation. Even more so, we're in lockdown, which I'm lucky because I'm locked down with this one and my family. But I hope you're enjoying that with your family as well. That doesn't change the fact that Easter's still approaching. So we're excited about that, and we're going to keep talking about Easter and how Jesus rose from the grave. And so our bottom line for today is Easter means new life is possible.
So each summer you have a couple months off of school, and when you go back to school in September, have you ever noticed that people just seem different? A lot of times we look different, like we get a haircut or we grow our hair out or we grow taller or something like that. I vividly remember in the 6th grade going to the first day of school, and there was a girl in my class that I didn't even recognize, and it was someone that I'd gone to school with all of elementary school. She just looked different. Summer, she looked older. She looked tanner, her hair was different, she had what you might call a glow up, she just looked totally different. Those months of time, you can just change a lot. So we're in the midst of this kind of mandated isolation where we're separated from each other. We have social media, but that's not the same as being together in person. And so we can change over this amount of time. So we have a choice to make during this time. Do we want to be the same person when this whole situation's over, or do we want to have a new life? Do we want to be a person that people see and they think, oh, they're exactly the same as I remember them? Or do we want to be a person that people are like, what is different about them? What has changed during this time? So we're going to read today together from Matthew chapter 28, verses 1 through 7, if you want to follow along. After the Sabbath at dawn on the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to look at the tomb. There was a violent earthquake, for an angel of the Lord came down from heaven and going to the tomb rolled back the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothes were white as snow. The guards were so afraid of him that they shook and became like dead men. The angel said to the woman, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He is not here. He has risen just as he said. Come and see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell his disciples, he has risen from the dead and is going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him. Now I have told you."
So with Easter, we're looking forward to the day that Jesus rose from the grave. We often would say, he is risen, and then people would say,
He is risen indeed.
It's an exciting thing that we really like to celebrate because it just shows the immense power of God, and that everything that Jesus was doing on earth, all the teachings that he had, all the miracles that we read about, the relationships that he was building, the way that he would define and explain love, all of that just got solidified by the fact that he was risen from the grave. Now, we're in isolation. I don't know what day we're on, but it's like towards the second week. He was only in isolation for 3 days. So after he died, he had to wait 3 days till he was risen from the dead. But, he kind of bore all the sins of the world on himself before he died, when he died. So I can imagine that his 3 days were probably a lot worse than anything that we're going to experience, and for any length of time that we might experience it. But it's good to remember that the power that God used to raise Jesus from the dead is the power that lives inside us, that gives us the opportunity to transform, to embrace the love that God has for us. And just in the scripture, Jesus, was gone. The angel said he had risen, and he'd going to meet the disciples. And he was going to show them that he has risen and what that power looks like. So he was initiating something for them that was about helping them access how they could change their lives, how they could create a new life for themselves. Even though they had just been with Jesus, this power is something different, something greater than they could have even imagined. And so it's something that they're very excited to experience.
So Easter means that new life is possible. Do you want to have the same old life that you've been having, or do you want to embrace that new life is the question that we have for you guys today. No matter what, you are still you. That's super important to remember. But God is constantly going after us and wanting to help us to deepen our relationship with him and to change and to transform to be more like him. So people might not notice a physical difference from you after this. They might. I don't know. We've been eating a lot of cookies and stuff, so they might notice a physical difference. But we want people to see a change in us that comes only from God.
So that's our challenge for you. Do you want to have a new life when isolation period's over and you go back and you're meeting all these people again? Or do you want to be the same?